What up, chum bags? What's going on, man? Ladies and men out there, anglers, fishermen, artists, whatever, whoever the hell is watching me, what's going on? So today is Wednesday, sometime in the middle of March, hell, I don't know, 16th, 15th, something like that. We're in the middle of a nice cold front. It's extremely windy outside, cooler temperatures in the mid 60s because I live down here in South Florida. I know everybody else is probably freezing their ass off. But I was going to put some gear together to go fishing this evening. I've been painting all day. And I decided that I would make a little Bentley's tips video about chatterbaits, because that is going to be one of the lures that I'm going to use a lot today. Chatterbaits. Why am I using chatterbaits today? Well, hell, first of all, what is a chatterbait? A chatterbait is basically a jig with a blade on it. This is what they look like in the store. The original chatterbait. Now they got all kinds of different expensive ones and bigger and crazier and gnarlier ones, but I just get the regular old chatterbait. I like the 1/2 ounce or 3/8 ounce. Anything heavier than that I really don't need, and anything lighter than that I can't really cast that well. So 1/2 ounce, 3/8 ounce is what I usually use. What is a chatterbait? It's like I said, it's like a bladed jig. You kind of want to fish it like you would a jig or a crankbait. When and where do you use a chatterbait? Well, very good question. I use chatterbaits whenever I'm fishing a lake or a canal or a pond or any body of water that has grass on the bottom. In order for that body of water to have grass on the bottom, it needs to be between, I don't know, 1 foot to 20 feet. I believe anything more than that, sunlight won't get through the water unless it's super clear, which means it won't have photosynthesis, which means there won't be any grass on the bottom, which is very important. So we're looking for bodies of water with grass bottoms, not lots of structure. You can have a little bit of structure. Rocks are okay. You don't want to be throwing this thing into a bunch of trees and stuff. We're fishing in grass. What time of year? For you guys up north, fall and pre-spawn and post-spawn, which is going on right now. A lot of times during pre-spawn and post-spawn, these largemouth, the big females, the big ones that we're going for, they go lay down in the grass and get fat, just gorge before they lay their eggs, or after they lay their eggs and they're all worn out, they go eat again. So this is a great bait for those situations, those scenarios. Windy days, if it's windy, cloudy, nighttime, these lures got a lot of vibration. I wouldn't use this on a sunny day in a clear lake that was 10 feet deep. That's probably not the best thing to use. But you know, this is made to give off vibration, and so yeah, there you go. What colors and how to rig? Very important steps to that. As far as daytime goes, I like to use, and this goes for any kind of lure, I like to use colors that match the environment. So if it is, let's say the water is kind of murky, there's a lot of rocks, it's got a tint to it, then I'm going to throw something like this. If you see this color, it's kind of like a red. I don't know if you can see it. It's like a reddish color. It's I'm kind of matching the color of the water. If it's a more greener colored water or clear colored water with a lot of grass and algae and whatever in it, then I'm going to use something like that color. Now also white is always a go-to. Can't go wrong with white, especially when it's real murky water, real dirty water. White. It's nighttime. I got the blue. Here's a blue one right here. That's a great color at night. This kind of is going to emulate something along the lines of a bluegill. So with any kind of other lure, you're just gonna match the hatch. You're gonna look and see what the color of the water is and what's swimming around and what time of year it is. If they're feeding off shad and minnows in that lake, then you're gonna want to use something white. If they're feeding off of crawfish and things like that, then you're gonna use something more darker color. If they're feeding off bluegills, then so. That's an instinctual thing that you learn after fishing for a while. You shouldn't. People ask me that, what colors do you use and when to use them in every type of lure. And it's the same in every type of lure. You just gotta figure out the water and know that the water is super clear. You don't want super bright things in the water. If the water is super murky, you don't want white and clear things in the water. But then sometimes that does work, or what you need. So you figure that out from where you're fishing from. How do I rig them? You're always going to want to put some type of trailer on your jigs or on your chatterbaits. Very important. Now, if you're fishing in maybe 5-6 feet of water, then you're going to want to throw like a 3/8 ounce jig. And you're gonna want to put a trailer like one of these little bug trailers or one of these crawfish trailers or a creature trailer. You're gonna want to throw a trailer like that because it's more buoyant and it's gonna fall slower. Now, if you're fishing 15 feet of water, 20 feet of water, and you want to get that thing down quicker to the bottom, then you're gonna throw like a 1/2 ounce, and you're gonna throw like a swim bait trailer on it. But you can always want a trailer, because without the trailer, it doesn't have the profile that it needs. You understand? So you add a trailer on, something that matches in some way or another, and depending on the depth of the water and how fast or slow you want that thing to get down to the bottom, depends on if you want to use a creature trailer or a swim bait trailer. It's very important, because with this swim bait trailer, it gets down really, really quickly. Also, what I like to use, and this is a new thing that I've been using recently, this is called Dip and Glow. It does two different things. You get your worms or your spinner baits or your trailers, and you dip the tip in it. Watch this. Look at that. Now that thing right now glows in the water so gnarly, and it smells like straight garlic, and it triggers fish's bites. I think this is like $6, $7. So if you got the money to spend, get you some of that Dip and Glow. You can dip the back of any trailer onto it. So you can see I got on the back of here. If you notice, when you see bluegills in the water, their tail is kind of lit up. So little things like this will spark an extra bite. So I do suggest you go out and get that. So always have a trailer on your chatterbaits, and depending on how you want your chatterbait to react depends on what kind of trailer you want. And then the most important thing is, how do you fish a chatterbait? I think for me, that's what I had wrong until I really watch other people's videos. And that's the main reason why I'm sharing these videos, because as I learn, I like to share to other people. With largemouth bass fishing, it's a big challenge, and learning the secrets and learning every little bit is something that you can gather parts and pieces from YouTube, but most of it you got to learn by yourself. And I like to share to other people if they're going to use it and help themselves to catch more bass. So how to fish a chatterbait was a big thing for me, because I was used to throwing spinner baits. I don't know how long chatterbaits have been around. When I was younger and bass fish, they weren't around. They weren't a big thing. I mean, that was 15 years ago. Now, since I got back into bass fishing, everybody's like, chatterbait, chatterbait, chatterbait. So I bought a couple and I started fishing them, and I'm fishing them just like I would a spinnerbait. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this thing's got extreme vibration, and like I said before, with no confidence, without anybody telling me what to do, I fished it for maybe 30 minutes, didn't get a bite, and was like, the hell with this, I don't know what's going on. Now, after doing some research and then fishing it on my own in the last year, I found it to be one of the most productive lures to catch largemouth bass on, and big largemouth bass. In the right environment, like I explained earlier, it works good, but you gotta fish it right. So instead of like a spinnerbait where you just cast it and reel it in, with a chatterbait you want to cast it out to the middle of the pond or the lake or wherever you're fishing. Now, if you're on land, then you're gonna want to cast right in the middle, or if there's a drop off, you can fish the drop off. That's usually where the bass are gonna sit on ponds and lakes if you're fishing on land. There's usually gonna be a shelf and then one drop off, and sometimes a shelf and another drop off. And those are what you need to focus on if you're on land. If you're on a boat and you got all the electronics and stuff like that, then you're looking for flats, grass flats, or again drop offs, or maybe submerged timber, or like I said, grass flats. You're looking for grass where these bass are going to be staging before they spawn, and you're going to cast out there and let it drop to the bottom. Once it's dropping to the bottom, now also, like I've said before, don't take this wrong, or upset. I know you guys can catch fish out there with spinning rods and reels, but when we're fishing for largemouth bass, let's get us a bait casting rod and reel. It's very important. You need to have that backbone for it. You need to hoss that fish in, because fishing with largemouth, with that big mouth, they're gonna throw your lure. Ain't no playing around. I don't want to hear drag. I don't want to hear nothing. I want to get that fish in the boat or on land. You need to drive that hook in that fish, and you need to show that fish who's boss. So have yourself a bait casting rod or reel. Also, you're way more accurate with casting, and with bass fishing, casting is very important. You're not throwing live bait. You're not throwing on a bed. So there's a lot involved in casting in those right little areas, casting far, casting with accuracy. So get you a bait casting rod and reel, extra heavy or medium heavy. And so you're gonna cast, let it drop on the bottom. Once on the bottom, it's very simple. We're just reeling this thing in slowly. You want this chatterbait to just be slowly dragging on the grass. Not fast, not hard, but just going like this. And then every maybe 5 feet, 10 feet, you're gonna pull up on the rod. Not hard, not like that. You're just gonna pull up. And when you pull up, you're gonna feel that, and then it's gonna slowly drop back down. And then you're gonna do the same process. Just 5, 8 feet, and then you're just gonna pull up, and then you're gonna feel that, and then you're gonna let it drop. Now when you're dragging it on the bottom of that grass, you're feeling what's down there. You might feel it get hung up on a piece of grass. That's good, that's perfect. And then once you get a feeling to where you're fishing at, you'll be able to not have to drag it on the ground, but be able to pull it right above where the grass is at. And that's what your whole focus is on. You're fishing this thing right off the bottom. And 90% of the time, it strikes when you pull that rod up. When you pull that rod up, and that lure jumps out of that grass and vibrates, and that tail goes like that, that big bass sees that and they can't resist it. It's just a reaction. They might be following it while it's dragging on the bottom or while it's just swimming. And now also while you're dragging it or while you're swimming it, it doesn't need to vibrate. So don't be swimming, don't real fast and because you think it has to be vibrating to be working. It's not like a spinnerbait. The whole point is it not to vibrate all the time. You want it to just be slow and then give it that, and that's what's gonna cause your bites. Also with chatterbaits, most of the time these bass inhale them. This is not no pussyfooting around. They just nibble your lure. Like they inhale the damn thing. So, like I said, I like to use leader, at least 30-pound leader. And the reason why I use leader is because if you use straight braid, a lot of times the braid will get all hung up in this shit. And if it's nighttime, it's a pain in the ass. If it's daytime, it's a pain in the ass. If you have at least a foot of leader, It prevents, because the leader's gonna be strong. You know, that shit's plastic. That shit's not organic. So it's just gonna, it won't get hung up. So yeah, those are the techniques. Pretty simple. Like I said, windy days, overcast, rainy days, murky water, grass. Like, don't be worried about getting this thing hung up. You will get it hung up on branches and trees and things like that, but don't be worried about getting hung up in the grass. You're gonna want to do that. You're gonna want to run this thing through the grass. And if you do those techniques, like I said, it's kind of the same thing as worm fishing or anything with bass fishing. You come out there, you approach your lake or your pond, and you just cover every little bit of area. And you come out there with the plan. Come out there with the confidence, which I'm giving you now. This works. And go out there and get you a big bass, man. Sometimes, hell, I've even caught peacock on them. And they're usually big. They'll come up out the bottom and like they'll inhale it too. It ain't gonna be nothing small. Nothing really small eats a chatterbait. So I hope for you guys that maybe tried it before, they know what the hell you're doing. Maybe you'll try it again and catch you a fish. If not, I hope you guys learned something, even if it was this dip and glow or a different way to present the lure or whatever. That's what I'm doing this for, and I hope it helped in any way, shape, or form. Good luck, guys. I'm going to go out there this evening and throw chatterbaits. I'm inspired, and hopefully I can catch a bass, a big one. I feel like it. I feel confident. It's in my blood. Like today I feel like it's going to happen. You guys ever had that feeling before? Like you just feel like it's, I don't know. We'll see. All right, thank you guys. Follow, subscribe, like, comment. If you guys have any tips that you want to share too, please comment, because I love to learn too. I don't know anything or everything. So please help me out, help everybody else out. This is what we do it for. I'm trying to make good anglers out of you guys, and I'm trying to be a better angler myself. Challenge yourself, go after new species, get you a bucket mouth, largemouth. If you already been doing that, keep trucking at it. If you guys down here plucking peacocks, man, that shit's fucking easy, bro. I mean, you're gonna get tired of it sooner or later. And once you do, come holler at Uncle Bentley and learn some Bentley tips, alright? Sheesh!